Good afternoon, everyone, and a very warm welcome to this live session hosted by RISE Jhansi Incubation Centre. I am Samiksha and I will be host for the day. Welcome to the fourth and final session of a webinar series based on the theme The Product Journey. Through this journey, we explored different parts of product building and learned how founders can build products that truly matches market needs. Today's topic is decoding product market fit. For every founder, one major challenge is knowing whether their product truly fits the market and solves a real need. Today's session will help in understanding how startups can know their users better, validate product demand, improve product adoption, and move towards real growth. I'm delighted to introduce our speaker for the day, Mr. Kushal Trivedi. He's an ex-founder of multiple award-winning EdTech startups and currently working as a startup mentor and advisor with more than 15 years of experience in branding and business growth. Over the years, he has guided many founders and growing ventures in understanding customer needs, refining product direction, and building products that connect well with the market. His real-world startup experience make today's session highly valuable for all of us joining today. We are very delighted to have you with us, sir. Before we begin, I have just one small request to all the participants. Please feel free to share your question in the chat box during the session. Without taking much time, I would invite Mr. Kushal Trivedi to take over. So the stage is yours.
Thank you, Samiksha. And thank you, Jhansi Incubation Center, for giving me this opportunity. I'm really excited to share the knowledge that I have gathered through the experience. So, yeah, let's directly jump into the presentation and then we can take the Q&A. So the topic is really interesting, finding product market fit to maximize the user adoption. That really means that, often we see that a founder usually tries to, work on a product till he or she is satisfied to a certain extent. But not every time that's the case actually. The market has a different demand, customers have different demand, but as a founder we often fail to recognize those things and try to polish the product till we are satisfied as the founder. So in this whole session we are going to explore the nitty gritties about the product market fit and when it's the right time, what are the you know green ticks about launching a product for the founders, so that you don't waste time too much on polishing the product and go out in the market and start getting the real feedback from the real users as intended. So this is going to be the overall topics that we are going to take over on the product, during the session, and I'll be happy to take all the question and answers once we are done with all these points. So you guys can be ready with your questions, and once the session is over, we can go with the Q&A part. Right. So what is product market fit? So like I said that, it's a stage where product solves a significant problem for a clearly defined target audience and user naturally adopt and promote it. Meaning that, in my language as a founder, uh, we need to first focus on the problem, that what is the problem that we have discovered that needs to be solved, right? Then we create a product or a tool that solves that particular problem. First we try it on our own as a founder, that it is solving that particular problem, how smooth it is going, what are the parameters it is matching, right? If you find it that okay, this particular tool or the product which we have created as an MVP or a wireframe, those kind of things, uh, is really working, then we share it with a group of people who can be from our friends, who can be from our family or colleagues. That group uses that particular product or a tool, and they are also equally satisfied to a certain extent, right? And it seems to us that people are coming back to use it, right? Even the tool is not that much polished, it's not that much packaged, but to a certain extent it is solving a problem that it was created for, right? So that's when you grow gradually from your inner circle, then you promote it outside, then you take some feedbacks, you collect those feedbacks, and then you push your product. So that is the overall definition of product market fit, that okay, now you are confident enough that you can invest more time into it, more energy into it, more finance into it, and scale the product, right? Because the customers needed that product. I mean, the customer could be anyone. Customer could be a local customer, just like I said initially, that that person could be from your inner circle. Then it grows organically up from it. So, and certain kind of products also have a certain kind of user base as well. So we need to focus that throughout that particular journey, from the day one when we give the product in the hands of our first inner circle, we see that what are the kind of people that are coming back to use it, what are the kind of people that wants more out of it. So that is also one kind of learning for the founder, that okay, now the product has been accepted in the market because it is solving that one particular problem. It may be solving one or two problems, or maybe three, but your product cannot be solving more than three problems, because it then becomes a very uh, saturated or kind of a tool that everyone understands, but we still need to market it and educate the people. So your problem statement has to be very clear, that this tool or the product is created for this particular problem, and it solves this very smoothly, right? So that's the proper definition of product market fit, right? Now we talk about the journey. So like I said, that it's a process. First you explore it in your own inner circle, you find those kind of users, you categorize the users, you categorize them on a different parameters, demographically, then who is coming back again to use the product, those kind of things. So that will give you, initial analysis will give you a right insight when you are going to scale that particular thing, right? That okay, my product is very much used for college students, let's say, for example, and specifically in a particular department, right? So though these kind of students are coming back and are willing to use the product more and more because it is solving a particular problem for them. Maybe you have created a research tool that solves a problem for PhD students, so early signals needs to be properly curated, right? Then you try to validate it. Now how you will validate it? That okay, you have given the product to 100 people, 100 odd people, right? A group of 100 people, it can be anyone. Then you segment it. These are the people who are coming back, these are the people who have used it but they have not find it too much useful in their day-to-day activities. Yeah, these people are ready to pay. So that is kind of a validation that you are getting for your initial MVP to say. So that's where you start gathering the correct users from that particular group of 100 people, right? Once you are onto it, once you are confident enough that okay, now these people are regularly using it, this is the challenge that has been solved by your product. Now you package it properly, now you optimize it properly, you invest your time, you invest your team's efforts and everything into it, and then you try to scale it further, right? But during that particular phase, you need to be very much sure that whatever efforts you are putting, those efforts are into the right direction, that is to push your product out to a larger audience, larger proper set of people, right? So for that, what you need to do is when I say that you need to be very much sure about pushing it to the larger audience, your marketing comes into play when you are scaling it, when you are optimizing, right? So when can you market the product properly? When you have the other two parameters very clear in your mind during the exploration and validation period, that is particular target audience that you are going to target initially, because they are the low hanging fruit for your product, right? I cannot just take a CRM that is built for coaching institute and try to sell it to schools and colleges, because their needs are different, even though it comes from the same industry, right? The education industry. So we need to be very much sure on the early stages. And when we can be sure, when we start logging all the feedbacks, all the signals, the users, their experiences, everything from day one, right? So the product market fit pyramid, it's kind of a, like I said, the target audience, then underserved needs, value proposition, feature sets, UI UX, and metrics, right? So you need to be very much clear about all these 6 points, that who is your target audience, what's the problem that is still not particularly solved by large, right? Then what is your product why is your product the best for it, solution for it, right? So when you start, targeting a smaller group of people, you will start getting answers to first 3 points that are listed over there, right? That okay, my target group is coaching institutes. Why the problem is still unsolved? There can be many reasons. The current applications that are there in the market may not be privacy, pro privacy. They may not be pro coaching institute. They may not be pro pricing. There can be some features that are still not given in one subscription model. So you need to understand those things. And when can you understand? When you are very much on the target for your customers, right? Then once you are logged in into those problems, once you have tried and tested your product with a small group of people, you will know that why your product works for a particular set of people. So that's when you will be very much clear about your value proposition, the product brings, right? You don't have to list down the USP of your product. If someone says that why we should use, there are multiple, you can very much be confident about your product. You can say that they are giving these kind of activities, these kind of features into it, but we are providing a bit more advanced technology. It could be anything, right? It could be, I mean, it's not limited to technology. It could be on the pricing front. It could be on the the UI UX part, which is the 5th point. So when you are dead sure about your target audience, once you have served a small group of people, you learn from them, you learn from their feedback, you learn what they want, why they want it, what they don't want, right? As a founder, we are tend to fit in all the features that are possible out in the market that our competitors have, but it's not going to help you, because some competitor is not adding a feature, and you add that particular feature and try to sell your product through that feature. It's not going to help you to scale beyond certain point. And in some cases it meant the competitor is not full. If he's not adding a particular feature, that means that that feature is not that much of weightage in the overall product. You also need to understand that part as well, right? So these are the kind of points that you start learning through first, second, and third phase of the product launch, right? So when you start going out in the market, when you talk to the real customers, you take their feedback, you ask them to be more proactive about using your product, and you start learning more about your competitors, you start learning more about their products and stuff like that. How are they designing? Because the certain set of when it comes to UI UX part, also if you are using some kind of flat icons, I'm talking about just tech products, web or mobile app, right? So if you are using a certain kind of flat icons and minimalistic approach, then the user that you are targeting is not used to those kind of minimalistic approach, even though you like the look and feel of the product, right? So it's a amalgamation of different small things. It's not always that okay, you like it so the product is better, but you need to see from the customer's perspective that what they are willing to have, what they want to use, how they want to use, right? So that's where product market fit pyramid comes into the play. So very simple: identifying the target users, define your ideal customer persona. So like I said initially, that you need to be very sure about the initial inner circle of the users that your product is built for, or the problem it is going to solve. So if you are building something related to MSME, something related to stores or FMCG product distributors, or some other people or a community, then you need to be very much sure that this is the problem these kind of people or these kind of industries facing by large, right? Understand their pain points, behaviors, and motivations, right? The motivation part is something where you need to focus on what competitors are doing, right? Because uh, at times certain industry and people working in certain industries are very much rigid in changing one product to another, right? So you need to be very much sure about what motivates them to use a particular set of product, right? If they are finding that okay, we are fine with, let's say, tele, then even if you are going to provide them cloud based, AI based, whatever, all the buzzwords and jargons into your fintech product, but they may not be that much pumped up like you are, because you have included all the current technology, you have used the best of the best AI, LLMs, and everything into it. But they are not, they can have a 7,000 rupee accountant at their disposal to do all the tally thing, and at the end of the month they can get the balance sheet just in an instant, right? So you need to understand that what motivates your customer to use a certain product in a certain way, right? And like I said, that there will be a set of people who will be coming back to use your product. So focus on those users who feel the problem is very much hurting them in a certain way, hurting in a way that they are slowing down. It may be a personal slowdown, it may be business related slowdown, but they are slowing down. These problems are slowing them down, right? So you need to focus on those people more. If you try to uh, give your product at let's for example say that I'm giving a product for cheap, let's say 5 rupees to 10 people, trying to get 50 rupees. But if I find two people who are ready to pay me 25 rupees each, because they feel the problem is more of a kind of in a way that it is hurting them more to speed up their work, speed up their efficiency, so they are going to pay me more. So I need to focus on those kind of users rather than trying to cater 10 different people for a small bunch of amount. I should be focusing on the people who are ready to pay me a premium in an instant, right? Problem and validation. You need to talk to real users. You cannot just try to build your product, try and test the clicks and everything and functionality and stuff like that, and just gather the information from a set of people that you are surrounded by. You need to focus on the real people, because the problem has to make some kind of a proper argument when you are working on something very deep, like these kind of products, or trying to build a startup, right? Confirm that the problem is urgent, frequent, and valuable to solve. No, like I said, that if your competitor is not using certain feature in their product, right? So you make a point of it and you try to add that particular feature and try to sell to a larger audience. That's not going to help you to scale, right? Because that problem may not be much of a sellable problem, and that's why your competitors are not focusing on it. So never do that kind of mistakes. First confirm there is a problem, try to engage with the audience that are not known to you, that are not known to your circle. Try to speak with them, try to offer them free demos, learn from their feedbacks that you get, and see that okay, is this the problem that really needs an attention or not, before investing more time, energy, and money into it. Because at times we feel that okay, we have multiple examples about these kind of apps or startups that have scaled, that have taken fundings, but yet they have to shut down. Why? Because there was no revenue coming from it. And why there was no revenue coming from it? Because as far as it was taking a free real estate on my mobile app, on my mobile. That app can be kept on my mobile phone. I'll be using it once a month, twice, once in 3 months, right? But that's not a problem that I'm solving as a founder. I'm just keeping my mobile app on someone else's mobile, and it is just because it is free. But I'm not getting any paid customers out of it, and that's why my revenues are not positive, right? So when you solve a real problem, you need to identify that, okay, is this going to be a longer problem, or it can be connect to a larger audience? Those are the parameters that you need to know, and people are willing to pay or not for it, right? Avoid assumptions, rely on data and feedback, right? When assumption, as in, you feel that, okay, we are going to launch a particular feature in couple of months that will give us an edge, or we will be, first in the market. No, there is no app like us, or there is no web that is available in the market right now, and we are going to be, killing it because we are going to be the first mover. We are going to have first mover advantage out of it. But those are all assumptions, right? Then you have not done the homework properly. Once you start speaking with the customers, the scenario can change drastically. You must have also seen about the pivots that have happened in past for certain startups, that they started with certain point, then they have to pivot it into altogether different product, and at times those startups are also failed, right? So you need to rely more on data, more on feedbacks, more on repeat paying customers, right? Solution and validation, just like I said, that focus on one pain point. Don't try to solve too many points for too many people in one app, right? Gather user feedback as early as possible from day one. Like I said earlier, that if you start gathering feedbacks, if you start creating that kind of practice in the organization from day one, you will have a great marketing material where you don't have to lie to anything, and you will be very much helpful, and you can also help your sales team in their training, right? When it comes to comparison between the competitor's product versus your product. measure engage Measure engagement and satisfaction before scaling. So that's one of the most important part. Just because you got funding, just because you got some commitments or some grants from the government or incubation center, you just don't try to pump all the money into marketing. Don't try to create too many features around your product. Don't try to give too many functionalities in your product and try to clutter it. Feel that, okay, if I'm into preschool, say for example, then I have launched first application was just a simple communication app back in 2016. That was the real problem that I was trying to solve, a communication app for those preschool who cannot afford it, who are not non-branded preschools, like they don't have franchising model. It's just some retired teacher has now started a preschool in their own house, or rented a place nearby. Those kind of preschools were my target audience, and I created a mobile app. Why? Because most of those preschools does not have a proper tech facility. Someone is running from one laptops. Teachers are just using their mobile phones to communicate in a those were the challenges back in 2016 when I started, right? So my goal was naturally to first try to tap into more and more preschools with my product. Now if I want to expand out of that particular product, then what could be the next organic step? Then I could have started giving my product to uh, K-12 schools, right? But if I go there in that particular market, that market is very huge, and that market is already saturated with lot of products, lot of other challenges, like hierarchical challenges. I have to go through management, then management goes to trust board and everything. So the decision making power and all those things are hindering my progress. They are making me slow. My business gets a bit pulled back. So what I did is that I focused on other different products. Then, like, let's just try to publish a mobile app with games, stories, animated videos for preschools who still cannot afford these kind of tech solutions, and try to sell that particular thing as an add-on to what we are already having. So first I created a distribution channel through my mobile application. Then I try to create another add-on product which definitely complements with what we are providing right now. And the cost is also very low, so that preschools, the current customers, can also afford it. Right? So what we need to do is, we need to be very much sure that what is our target audience, what is our market, right? And then we work on those kind of things. Like I said, measuring product market fit, retention rate, churn rate, net promoter score, engagement metrics. So these are, these are all fancy metrics to, keep on the presentation on the deck. But the overall crux is very simple. Are my customers coming regularly back to use my product or not? Right? If I am giving my product for free, am I adding any value to the end user? Are they using it again and again? Is there a pattern that I can monitor, that okay, they are using for one time in a day, they are using one time in a week or not? That is the churn rate part. If not, they are just, my app is just on their mobile phone, not used, and whenever they want to delete it, it will get deleted, so the churn rate will be much more higher. I may have 1 lakh downloads, but my customer active users will be less than 10,000. So that doesn't make any sense. That is not going to give me the business. Even if I have 1,000 downloads, but I have 900 or 700 active users daily, day in, day out, that makes a huge difference, because I have 700 eyeballs on my product every day, right? So that's the right way to look at these kind of parameters. Are users recommending your product or not? Net promoter score, right? So if I am giving them proper product with a service that cannot be compromised after selling the product to them, then am I getting more referrals or not? Because referral is the best way a company can build and scale in terms of marketing. If you are getting more and more reference, you are doing something right than your competitors, right? Like I said, engagement metrics, time spent, feature used, repeat actions, right? So like I said, that I don't want 1 lakh downloads and 10,000 people using it. I want just 1,000 people who have downloaded my app, but there are 700 active users coming back day in, day out, right? So that's the right way to monitor your growth and the acceptance of your product. Simplify the onboarding process, demonstrate value within the first few minutes, right? If you know the pain point, right, you can demonstrate the value of your product or the tool instantly, because you are knowing the problem that your product is solving, right? Offer guided experiences, like you can share a PDF of how to, and kind of stuff. You can create some tutorial videos, you can share those links, tips and tricks. Apart from some kind of, in some cases there can be some product related delays, or product may be crashing, what to do, and those kind of things, right? Try to make sure that your users are using it for all the right reasons. Reinforce positive usage pattern through reminders and updates. So we are all using smartphones, and we are getting reminders with some offer, some kind of discount and things like that. So we need to also focus on those things, that are we talking to our customers in the right way or not, right? And that is a very deep topic in its own way, that we are getting, if to put it very simply, everyone must be having some kind of grocery app like Blinkit or Swiggy, Instamart or Zepto, something installed on their phone or on their devices. Then Zomato, Swiggy, those aggregators as well. So when it's post 4 in the noon, you may be receiving something where it's related to snacks. You may be receiving something where it's related to refilling your grocery from Blinkit or Zepto, or essential daily essentials like milk and things like that, because they are timed it right, because that's the time when they feel that a certain set of customers, those people who are on their jobs, who are going to end their day, they will directly want to have their daily essentials delivered at their home, right? If it's noon time, they will be sending out notifications on their app for lunch discounts nearby, stuff like that. So that is kind of a positive usage patterns they are trying to create within their users, right? They are trying to remind them subconsciously that, okay, do you have these kind of things at your home? You may be needing them once you reach home. There may be traffic, something like that, some quirky kind of a notification you'll be getting, right? So these are all the things we have to work on constantly. You have to constantly try to keep our customers engaged through notifications, through tips and tricks, through if you are a larger startup, you create a city-wise activation programs or events or offline events, stuff like that, so that you are constantly in the eyes of your customers or the target audience, right? That's how you maximize user adoption. That's how you instill faith into it, right? Create a feedback loop, right? So initially it is very easy to give a customer a personal call or a personal WhatsApp message and try to get some star ratings and stuff like that. But once we start scaling our business, these activities are often neglected by majority of the startup founders and the startups, because we have too much focus on, if we have got funds, then we are too much focused on uh, scaling our product, entering new markets, and things like that. So these particular things are often neglected or left out, or if not neglected, right? So we have to focus more on continuous feedback system, where we are constantly interacting with our users, and that could be at any level. It could be from the notification level to personalized emails and stuff like that. Priorities also change and align with our core value proposition at times as well. So we need to also be focused on those things. We have to have a particular set of tools to be used to get certain inputs from a certain set of people. It can be in-app surveys, customer support analytics. We can also have a dashboard in place where we see that where the users are, if they are clicking on some notification of us or email, promotional email, and where they are going and why they are leaving. They are not executing the whole funnel properly. So we need to have those kind of loops in the place. Why it is necessary? Because then we will know that, let's say for example, that I send a email, I've done a marketing campaign, I sent an email, I've designed that email very well, the offer is awesome, the timing is right, everything is right. Now the customer receives it, customer clicks on it, they are redirected to a page which is not the exact page that they have seen in the email. The first thing that a customer will do is they may close the tab, right? Because they didn't find that particular email, that particular offer immediately in front of them, right? If I'm trying to play around that, okay, you click on this, but you get onto a bigger product page where you see different other products, then not all the customers would be happy. Some may look into it and scroll back to that particular offer for which it was intended to be. They will then have to click, and then they will have the customer journey becomes longer. So these are the things that helps us to build a proper post sales services and make us always available in the eyes of our customers, right? Sustaining product market fit. So definitely ongoing effort that we have to keep monitoring the metrics, that is the customer satisfaction metrics. prevent product drift from revisiting core value often. And we don't try to fit in too many features and make it more and more pleasing, kind of a customer pleasing product, rather than focus on the customers that are coming back to use the product and make it more friendly for them, and not try to please all the kind of users into it. We have to be very much sure that okay, like many companies are now complaining about AI, but those companies who have forecasted the use since the day when ChatGPT was announced, so they may have predicted that certain changes are going to happen, right? Certain things will be demanded. So we see, so we need to anticipate the market shifts, and how we are able to do it. We are able to only do it once we start our engagement on with our customers. We speak to them in different ways. We speak to them through different funnels, right? So we will know that okay, these are the user behaviors. If someone is into single purchase product, now they want to create a subscription model around it. So they need to give certain things as an add-on to it. So how come they are going to know about it? They need to understand. They need to take service from the customers, right? That's how we try to look ahead in the future, that okay, these are the things where we can tap into it, these are the things which we have to avoid it, right? And these are the things which we need to fear about, right? So that's the thing, because just before Zapto became one of the market leaders, Blinkit became one of the market leaders, there was always a big basket, right? But why we are not using big basket that often against Blinkit and Zepto? It's because of big basket was not able to properly anticipate the market shifts. They had a subscription model, but these kind of products that they were offering, where it was, we wanted in few minutes. The customers wanted those products in few minutes and not have to wait for 1 day, 2 day, like, right? So those are the things that a user has to take into consideration, or a founder has to take into consideration. Right? Strengthen brand trust through reliability and responsiveness. So there are a lot of ways to be in front of our customers. Feedback taking sessions, online sessions, offline events, being present at more and more youth festivals or cultural festivals, and those kind of events creates kind of a trust in the customer, because they are seeing your brand name, they are seeing your logo everywhere, they are seeing kind of a company that is present, right? So that is one of the important part, where a brand once has reached certain level needs to do continuously. So that will build strength in the mind of the customers, that will have a positive brand recall value as well. Okay. And that will, again, these are all the things that will help in sustaining the product in the market. So these are the common mistakes to avoid: building before validating. So if most of the startup founders are like, okay, I've figured out a problem, now I'll just build the product to the best of its version, right? And then I'll go out in the market and try to find the customers for it. But that's not the case. If you find a problem that is too close to you, that doesn't mean that particular problem is going to be equally deep rooted for the person sitting next to you, right? Targeting too broad a user base. No, your product has to be targeted for a certain user in a certain locality, community, certain state, city, and it has to be solving a certain pain point only. You cannot just be product that everyone wants it, right? Never ignore negative feedback, because that's when you feel that okay, these are the things that can be easily we can work in the future. But if it's the need of an hour, and if you are ignoring it, then that can have a negative impact in the business, in the retaining the customers. Overcomplicating MVP features, like you fill too many features into it just to please too many users. That's wrong way to do it. And measuring vanity metrics instead of user adoption. Just like I said, that I don't want 1 lakh downloads and only less than 10,000 people using it. I want 1,000 people I want my app to be downloaded on 1,000 devices, and I want 700 eyeballs day in and day out. So that is the real metrics. That is the real use case, right? And investors are also going to focus on those parts, because we have all seen that how many fraud things have happened, that in Oyo also they have scaled to multiple hotels and stuff like that, and when a user gets a booking receipt into it, they go to that particular location and the hotel is not there. So they have just created some hotel fictitiously out of thin air, and then they have showed to their investors that okay, we have these many hotels, but in actual cases it is creating problem for the brand, right? Thank you. I guess we are done with the session, and I'm happy to take any questions that our audience may have.
Yes, sir. So we'll probably shift to Q&A as soon as possible. So the first question is, at what stage should a startup begin building proper feedback loops with users?
My suggestion would be from day one, right? Because every feedback that we get is going to be very much helpful, be it a negative feedback or be it a positive feedback.
Okay. The next question is, how important is customer feedback while achieving product market fit?
Yeah, so if it's a real customer, someone whom you don't know from your inner circle, then that particular feedback is of most importance. Why? Because they are the user who have not heard about your product. That is the person who have not known you as a founder or as a person. And if you are giving them your product or a tool and getting some kind of feedback from it, be it a neutral feedback, right? But that is one of the most important feedback I would consider personally in my startup journey.
Okay. The next question, how can startups use social media and communities to validate product market fit?
So it is one of the easiest way to not have a product and still get more and more interest, or know that how the interest about your product would be, right? If I am trying to build some kind of I'll give you a small example, a kind of a small walkthrough that how to go about it, because it's a very interesting thing that if I want to launch a product, say for example I want to launch a mobile application for astrologer, not a kind of a marketplace for astrologer, but I'll be targeting those astrologers who are willing to build their own mobile application and web platform, say for example. Now what I'll do is, I don't have to build that platform right now. I don't have to invest my time and energy into it. What I can do is I can create multiple creatives about my target audience, create a Facebook page, a page on Instagram, Facebook, launch a campaign, and see how much interest I'm getting from the market. And then now I've got 100 leads in one day. Now I'll bifurcate those leads. Who are actual astrologers who have clicked on my advertisement and given me the who are the users, they have just randomly filled the form. Because on social media you don't get even if you target the right audience, you are not bound to get the exact audience, right? Not initially. So these kind of activities, if I do initially, I'll know that okay, this is the response that I'm getting, right? The response could be anything. I can filter the response according to the payment criteria, that okay, the astrologers are only willing to pay anywhere between, majority of the people are willing to pay 5,000 rupees. Some of them, the premium astrologers or someone who loves their personal branding kind of stuff, they are willing to pay 10,000 rupees on an average level. If I get out of if I find an aggregate, it may be 7,000 rupees. So I need to price my product or service for 7,000 rupees. That's where I'll find most of the buyers. I'll find the top end buyers and as well as the lower end buyers, right? So I don't have to build a product first and then go out and then start selling. I can create anything on social media, create a page, fill the page with all the details. If I'm serious about my business, I'm not trying to create a scenario where we play around with these things. No, that's a very bad thing to do. If we are very much serious, then we don't have to have an actual product. We can always sign a letter of intent with these people. Any business that is there, we can sign a letter of intent that okay, after 3 months we will deliver you the product, and the first payment will be done once we give you the demo of the product. Any business in the tech world works on letter of intent. So that is a very good use case to have, that if you have if you know that okay, I can build that product but I don't want to build a product right now, launch a campaign on social media, fill your social network accounts with all the proper details, try to fire up your social media, and then you get the leads out of it, and then you see that is it worth pursuing or not, right?
Thank you, sir. Next question. Can product market fit differ for different customer segments? And how should startups handle that?
Yeah, so it definitely differs from customer segments. One customer may need a certain kind of design. It could be related to design, it could be related to features, you know. So product market fit definitely differs from a different customer segments. If I like I said initially, if you recall, I said that if I'm building a product that is for coaching institutes, and if I try to sell it to schools and colleges, even though they are in the same industry, but they will have a certain criteria. Coaching institute doesn't want to have a bus tracking system into it, but a school will be needing a bus tracking system into it. Coaching institute doesn't want to have a accounts, full account related portal into the dashboard, but a school or a college will need to have a accounts department related dashboard feature into them. They need to have fees, receivables, and expenses and everything. So those are the key challenges. At certain points may be common in the dashboard, certain points can be clubbed into one product, and but that is not going to help me to scale. I will be more confused as a startup founder, that if okay, I build a CRM that fits all. If it's for preschool, if it's for school, K-12 school, colleges, coaching institutes, we have solution for all. But in that way, we are not able to going to price the product right. There will be challenges in closing time, so the revenue on investment may affect us. And the startup in that particular case, if they want to handle it, then they need to be very much focused on the first set of customers, the low hanging fruits for them, right? So if I have created a product for preschool, like I said, then I just need to focus on preschools. I may not find all the preschools who are going to pay me what I ask for, but at least I know that my product is the best product for your particular establishment.
Correct. Next question. How do we know if a product has achieved product market fit?
So you can definitely come to a conclusion when you have more repeat users for your product. That is the best metric to look out for. So if I got a product that is half finished, or if I get a product that is not properly packaged, but if it solves my problem, then it doesn't matter. As a user, I know how to operate the product, right? So I'll use it, right? So that's the best way to look at it, that you have achieved a positive product market fit when you have repeat customers for your product, or you have repeat inquiries, and the word of mouth is very strong.
The last question. What are the biggest signs that a startup is still struggling to find product market fit?
Like I just said in the answering the previous question, that the users are not aggressive enough, the users are not more active on my product. I can do n number of marketing and activation activities and get my mobile app installed on many devices, but I'm not seeing that much traction happening, because ultimately when I'm just talking as an example to give you a overall context. So I'll take an example of mobile application. So when you are startup working in that particular domain and your product is mobile application, when you go out in front of the investors, they are going to ask you one metric, and that would be daily active users. Once you answer that question, they will ask you for a particular time, that okay, what is the average time they are spending
on your mobile application? Is it 8 minutes, 12 minutes, 15 minutes, or more? Because that's the real signal that they are getting, that their product is making some sense. How much time a particular user is spending on your application in their 24 hours, right? So that this is how you figure out these kind of signs, right? If you are someone who is into FMCG product or snacking product, you go out in the market, you distribute your product to 100 stores. Now see how many stores are giving you your product back just because there is no demand. Just because, and why there is no demand, you just talk to them. Is it the pricing issue? Is it the quality issue? Is it the packaging issue? Is your product getting, invisible in that particular rack where they are storing a lot of popcorns and snacking materials and lays and things like that? Then it's a design issue of your packaging. If it's a pricing issue, you talk to them. If it's a taste issue, you talk to the customers. You have some canopies at different locations. You give your product in hand of your customers. Try to have ask them to taste it. Take the feedback. Different category of the product, different category of the industry needs to have a different set of approaching their customers. So once you have that kind of repeat loop, if out of 100 stores I am getting repeat orders from 60 stores, then I need to see what are the benefits of those stores. The location is proper. There are two general stores. One general store is in a building that is newly built, and exactly opposite there is a general store, but it's in a building which is depleted building or a very old building. So the customers coming in both the stores are going to be different. Customers coming into the new building, the store in the new building will be more of a hygiene conscious mind, while the customer coming in that depleted kind of a building selling the same kind of things and having a same kind of rack of all these snacking products will be coming. Those kind of the customers they will be serving will be someone who is working on the roads for government projects, or those kind of people, and that store will be serving someone who is coming from a household, proper house, right? So the customers category will be different for the same product, even if they are just standing right in front, opposite to each other. So that is also happening, right? So we need to focus on those signals, that what are the things that are working for us, and focus on selling our product to those people who are coming back, because they are becoming subconsciously becoming more and more adaptive to your product.
Thank you so much, sir. The session has been really valuable, and I'm sure startups would have gained a lot of value from this session. And thank you, all the participants. And as this is the fourth and final session of the product journey series, we truly hope this journey brought useful learnings and fresh ideas for every founder that has joined us. So, before we conclude, sir, if you would have any final words or any advice for our founders.
Yeah, so I'll wish them all the best with their own startup journey, and if they want access to me for any of the questions that they may have missed out during this session, and they want to still have a one-to-one session with me, or how they want to take it, if they have some questions related to their journey, we can have a different call or one-to-one meetings through them for them as well. So I'll be much more happy to help them and guide them in whatever capacity I can.
Thank you so much, sir. And thank you once again, everybody, for joining us. We hope to meet you again in many more learning sessions ahead. Have a wonderful day.
Okay, bye.